Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons physical table, okay, and continuing to Dungeon Master. Okay, all right. So what I want to talk about today is my current campaign, which is so what is my what is my current dungeon mastering role? So I give advice on Dungeons & Dragons, so it's absolutely critical that I continue to play Dungeons & Dragons as often and frequently and powerfully and effectively as possible, right? Because one of my deepest haunting, I think that my greatest fears, this is what I don't ever want to be, right, is that guy who talks about Dungeons & Dragons and doesn't play Dungeons & Dragons. It is a haunting reality, right? Now, I struggle because there are very real obstacles to me playing Dungeons & Dragons actively, powerfully, and the way I want to. And the reason why is, the point of the day is I'm going to tell you my current Dungeon Master, my primary Dungeon Master campaign, right? And what I've been able to set up and what I'm very happy about and I'm excited about, right? And where I can practice what I preach, right? Because it's critical. We need to, right? So let's get into this. All right. So first of all, what are the obstacles to me playing Dungeons & Dragons? So first of all, I am a terrible Dungeons & Dragons. I'm a terrible Dungeons & Dragons player. I'm a very bad player. Okay, so one, that is an obstacle to. So I'm most comfortable in the Dungeon Master seat, right? That's not actually an obstacle to be running my. Let me stay focused here. I am a terrible friend. Everyone who is friends with Scott Garibay is friends with Scott Garibay at the cost of three distinct, terrible aspects of my personality. I'm not naturally social. It's a deficiency. That's the best way to say it. It's not a disability. People actually have disabilities. I wouldn't call this a disability. But socially, I have very distinct functional deficiencies, right? I really struggle to be social with people, right? I am smart, I am charismatic, and I am confident, but the reality is I very much have distinct social deficiencies, right? So, and one of the other things is the structure of my friendships is odd, right? So one, if I'm your friend, I'm all in. I strive to be the friend who is like, you call at 1 a.m. and say, get your shovel, meet me in the park, right? And I'm there. That's my level of friendship. And there's just not a lot I won't do for friends. It's just the reality of it, right? Like, if I'm your friend, I'm in, right? And recently, a friend was like, hey, I need a place to stay this weekend. Like, get your pillow, it's like, I don't like being your friend. I do not put the term friendship on somebody lightly. When I'm your friend, I'm all in with you. I'm going to do, you will not suffer if I can avoid it, right? And so one of the things this does is, if I stop being your friend, I want to slam the door on that. The rest of the world is like, oh, well, I'll just never talk to you again. I'll ghost you. I can't do that. I found being ghosted so incredibly painful that I refuse to do it to anybody. So if there's ever a point where I do not want to be in your corner, I will slam the door on that friendship. And that's one of the hardest parts about being friends with Scott Garibay is I will end friendships, right? Like, when I'm with you, right? And when I'm not, I'm gone. And I mean gone. And you shouldn't call me, right? And nobody else does this. Everybody else just I'll just never call that person again. And I'm not comfortable with ghosting. I despise it, and I think it's cowardly, and I don't want to be a coward, right? So I struggle to keep friends, right? And this is a very real thing, right? So recently I had a very powerful, very effective group that ran for 2.5 years. We did some incredible things. You'll find literally dozens of videos about that group. And the history of that group is right here on this channel, right? And that blew up last year, right? And so now I've been reconstructing my new group. And I got it, right? So I have my new group. We play Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. We are currently going through Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, F. Wesley Snyder's absolutely fantastic, brilliant analog to what, in my humble opinion, is really an analog for the Ukraine war, and it's absolutely brilliant. And so we're going through chapter by chapter, right? And we are running 1 hour Dungeons and Dragons, right? So the 1 hour Dungeons and Dragons is facilitated with Legos. So all miniatures and all terrain is Legos, right? And what's really cool is I am actually building out a visual language to allow Lego, leveraging visual language, to massively speed an entire adventure being done in 1 hour. So I run Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen for 1 hour through using, and it is Lego D&D, right? To be ready for the moment that we get our official Lego Dungeons & Dragons miniatures and Lego D&D terrain, and then those can be clicked directly next to literally every set that Lego has ever built, right? And the moment when Lego's Dungeons & Dragons, when Dungeons & Dragons will literally connect to every single Lego set ever built. And I'm having a ton of fun exploring Lego and exploring Dungeons & Dragons in parallel. My new group is a small group. We do not group. We can. It would have been nice if we could meet weekly. We do not meet weekly. We meet weekly. We meet less frequently than that, and it's an ad hoc. Like we just get together and we say, okay, when is the next time we can play? We set that in. We play. Go forward. Small group, select group, and everybody's in 100% on the type of Dungeons & Dragons I want to run, and understands and buys into my, actually I shouldn't say buys in, understands what I'm trying to accomplish with Dungeons & Dragons. That's the key part that I've been able to do that's different. And so I finally have it set. We're moving forward. I think my only lament is that we couldn't, set to a 1 week schedule, and I think we may build toward that. I think when everybody's in and there's more excitement around the game, and I've built some trust with everybody who's at the table, we'll be able to lock it in. So I'm very excited about this. Took months to get this reset. It's reset. I'm extremely happy about it, and I wanted to share it with you. And also, I think once I have this, build out for a few more months, get it a year under my vest with this, I'm going to try to see what else I can do with it. But I'm back to a physical table game. We use the D&D canon hardbacks. We use Lego for all official. We use Lego as our Dungeons and Dragons minifigs. We use Lego as our D&D terrain, and we run the entire adventure in an hour. And I use the page 4, the rules aren't in charge. You're in charge, to modify to massively speed up the pace of the Dungeons and Dragons game. So that's what I'm doing. What are you? And actually, that's what I'm doing. The important part is when you tell me what you're doing. What is your current D&D 5th edition for realsies in the paint Dungeons and Dragons? I'd love to hear. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.